My name's Lauren Blake, 35, marketing executive, the kind of woman who built everything she has from nothing but sleepless nights and too much caffeine. I wasn't born into the kind of world I work in now. I grew up in a small apartment over my mom's hair salon, where the smell of bleach and ambition filled every corner. I worked my way through college waiting tables, graduated top of my class, and landed my first job in a PR firm that thought working-class girls, like me, were charity hires. That's where I met her, Vanessa Monroe. If confidence could wear heels, it would look like her. CEO's daughter, Ivy League graduate. The kind of woman who said, "We should get drinks sometime," but meant, "Stay in your lane." At first, I thought she just didn't like me. But it was deeper. She despised that I didn't owe my success to anyone's last name. For years, I worked under her shadow, building campaigns that made her look like a genius. She took credit, smiled for photos, and whispered that I was ambitious in a desperate way. But the breaking point came at her 30th birthday party. The company rented out the entire Skyview rooftop downtown. Glittering skyline, champagne fountains, cameras everywhere. I was there because I'd been the one who actually organized the whole thing. Halfway through the night, I was standing near the bar when Vanessa, drunk on her own spotlight, clinked her glass and said loudly, "Let's toast to the people who make us look good, even the ones who'll never be good enough." Everyone laughed. I froze. Then she turned her head slightly toward me and added, "Some people just don't belong in these circles, no matter how hard they scrub the dirt off." The crowd went quiet for a second. Then the laughter came again, nervous, forced. And in that moment, something inside me went cold. I didn't say a word. I smiled, raised my glass, and whispered, "Cheers to you, Vanessa." Because while she was too busy trying to humiliate me, she forgot one thing. I was the one who built her entire brand. I had the keys to every deal, every investor email, every unreleased campaign plan, and every secret her perfect reputation was built on. That night, she called me trash. But I knew exactly how to turn garbage into gold. I didn't sleep that night. Not out of sadness, out of calculation. Vanessa thought I was broken, humiliated, done. But humiliation has a funny way of sharpening your focus. It burns away pride, leaving only purpose. By Monday morning, I was sitting at my desk in the corner of Monroe PR's 14th floor, coffee in hand, smile perfectly practiced. The office buzzed with post-party gossip, and I heard my name more times than I could count. Did you hear what Vanessa said? God, I'd die if my boss did that to me. I feel bad for Lauren. She didn't even react. Exactly. I didn't react. Because people forget your reaction, but they remember your revenge. I started small. Vanessa had no idea how deeply I was woven into her empire. She thought I was just another employee, another yes person keeping her image spotless. But what she didn't realize was that every one of her biggest clients, the luxury brands, the influencers, the politicians, came to her through me. They trusted my strategies, my discretion, my results. So I started planting seeds. One by one, I began to let key people know that Vanessa was struggling to keep up with her obligations. A delayed email here, a misplaced file there, a rumor that she'd double-booked a sponsor. Nothing big enough to trace back to me, but just enough to create friction. Then came phase 2, the digital cleanup. For years, Vanessa's private life had been a ticking bomb. Designer drugs, questionable invoices, and a side relationship with one of our biggest clients, a married senator. I'd seen the receipts, the late-night messages, the hush-money transfers buried under charity expenses. I didn't need to leak them. Not yet. I just needed her to know that I could. So, I drafted an anonymous email using a burner account, subject line, "You should watch who you call trash." Inside, I attached one blurred screenshot, not clear enough to prove anything, but real enough to make her panic. By noon, I watched her storm into her office, slam the door, and start barking orders at IT. She looked pale, unsteady, desperate. That was when I realized power isn't about being loud. It's about being the calmest one in the room while everyone else starts to sweat. The next week, she started making mistakes, public ones. At a press briefing, she announced a brand partnership that hadn't even been approved yet. Investors pulled out. Her assistant quit. She snapped at board members. And through it all, I played the loyal subordinate, fixing problems quietly, cleaning up messes, and earning sympathy from everyone she'd alienated. One night, as I was leaving, her father, the CEO, stopped me in the elevator. "Lauren," he said, "you've been holding this company together lately." "I see it." "Everyone does." I smiled, polite as ever. "Just doing my job, sir." But inside, I knew it was working. Vanessa's arrogance had always been her weapon, and now it was eating her alive. She'd called me trash in front of 100 people. But she was about to find out what happens when you throw away something that still has value, because it comes back sharper. And I wasn't done. Not even close. Revenge, when done right, doesn't need noise. It just needs timing. By the third week after the party, Vanessa was unraveling. In designer heels, of course. Her morning meetings grew shorter, her smiles tighter, her emails laced with typos. Every PR executive in the city could smell blood in the water, and I was the one quietly handing them the scent. She had built her reputation on control, the flawless image, the icy charm, the ability to spin any disaster into profit. But when your entire identity depends on power, even a small crack becomes an earthquake. I waited, patiently. Her assistant, Kelly, quit first, claiming personal reasons. I knew the real reason. Vanessa had screamed at her for sending an internal document to the wrong investor. The irony? I had been the one who swapped those email attachments. Then came the investors' dinner, her yearly spectacle of charm and lies. It was held at the Windsor Hotel, all marble floors and chandeliers brighter than most people's futures. I wore black that night, quiet and unassuming, blending into the room like the ghost of her past mistakes. Vanessa took the stage, champagne in hand, ready to sell another dream. But I'd already sent a little surprise to the main screen behind her, a presentation she thought contained her PR highlights for the year. Instead, slide by slide, it began to show fragments of her own text messages. Greater than, "Get the senator to sign it. He'll do it if I remind him what's at stake." Greater than, "No, he won't say anything. He can't afford another scandal." Greater than, "Delete the receipts from the catering invoices. He'll transfer directly." At first, she laughed, that brittle kind of laugh people give when they think it's a glitch. Then the color drained from her face. Her father stood up. The guests began to murmur. The senator's wife, sitting in the front row, walked out, and I just sipped my wine. Security shut down the projector, but the damage was done. The story spread faster than any of her crafted press releases ever had. Within 24 hours, social media was flooded with clips, screenshots, and hashtags like "Oh Vanessa Exposed" and "Trash Talk Karma." She tried to control the narrative, called an emergency press conference the next day. But no PR spin in the world could save her from what came next. Her father publicly suspended her, pending investigation. I watched her from across the conference room as he said the words. Her jaw trembled, eyes red but unblinking. For the first time, Vanessa Monroe, the woman who once made people tremble with a look, had no one left to command. She walked past me on her way out. For a second, our eyes met. "You did this," she whispered. I tilted my head and smiled faintly. "No, Vanessa. You did." You just gave me the chance to make sure everyone saw it. Later that evening, the company email went out. Effective immediately, Vanessa Monroe has resigned from Monroe PR. Interim Director, Lauren Mitchell. I stared at the screen, my name glowing where hers used to be. The irony wasn't lost on me. The woman she once called trash was now sitting in her chair, holding her title, and rebuilding the empire she thought she owned. But this wasn't about power anymore. It was about balance. And balance had finally been restored. 3 months later, winter hit the city hard. Snow covered the sidewalks outside Monroe PR, now rebranded as Mitchell and Company. Communications. The gold letters on the glass door caught the pale sunlight. My sunlight. I had rebuilt what Vanessa destroyed, not with rage, but with precision. New clients, cleaner ethics, real results. My staff laughed in the hallways again, no longer afraid of breathing wrong. For the first time in years, the office didn't smell like fear and perfume. It smelled like coffee and fresh paint. But I knew this piece wouldn't feel complete until I faced her. She reached out first. A short, shaky email sent at 2:17 a.m. "Lauren, can we talk?" Just once, I almost deleted it. Almost. But closure isn't something you find. It's something you build. So I said yes. We met at a small cafe near the river, the same one she used to take clients to flaunt her success. Now she walked in wearing a plain coat, hair pulled back, eyes hollow but proud in a way that said she hadn't completely surrendered yet. "Lauren," she greeted me softly, sitting across the table. Her voice was the same, smooth, practiced, but the power behind it was gone. For a moment, we just stared at each other. The woman who once called me trash now stirred her coffee with trembling hands. "I lost everything," she said finally. "My job, my reputation, my friends. My father won't even take my calls." I said nothing. She looked up, searching my face for pity. "You won, okay? You got what you wanted." I leaned back, eyes calm. "I didn't want your downfall, Vanessa. I wanted my dignity back." Her lip trembled. "You could have come to me." "We could have." I cut her off, my tone sharp but steady. "I did. Remember the night you called me trash in front of the board? I came to you after, tried to talk. You said, 'Learn your place.' So I did. I learned it very well." The silence that followed was brutal. The cafe was filled with the clinking of cups, the hiss of the espresso machine, and the sound of a woman finally realizing the cost of her cruelty. After a while, she whispered, "I didn't think you'd actually do it." "That's the thing about people like you," I said quietly. "You think kindness means weakness." Her eyes glistened, not with remorse, but with the grief of a fallen queen, realizing no one's coming to rebuild her castle. "I'm sorry," she murmured. I nodded slowly. "I know." And I meant it, because forgiveness isn't about letting someone back in. It's about letting yourself walk out, and never needing to look back. As I stood to leave, she reached for my hand. "Do you ever feel bad, knowing what you did?" I smiled faintly, meeting her eyes one last time. "No, Vanessa. I don't feel bad. I feel balanced." Outside, snowflakes drifted through the golden light of the setting sun. I walked back toward my office, toward my new life, feeling lighter with every step. Behind me, in that cafe, Vanessa sat frozen, surrounded by the ghosts of her empire, realizing that power built on cruelty always ends the same way. Cold, empty, forgotten. And as the wind carried the faint sound of church bells across the river, I whispered to myself, "She called me trash. I called it transformation."